this time around for good, as looks like you've got some drivers out on track to kick things off here for short qualifying. Full 20 driver grid as we're used to seeing here with the Tier 2 championship. So as a lot of these drivers are going out on their out lap, Asunik, do you have any early thoughts on what we can expect to see here around the Bahrain, I guess the Bahrain circuit for this race?
Tire degradation. A lot of the drivers in Tier 3 and throughout the week have experienced a lot of tire deg, so setup and execution is going to be absolutely key for these drivers to make these tires last throughout the entire Grand Prix.
Oh, definitely. And if the Tier 3 race is any indication of what we can expect to see, maybe a bit of a mix of one stops and two stops. Just given, I mean, of course, you can probably go soft, medium, soft, medium if you really want to, but those with the tire management abilities, I feel, can potentially do a one stop, maybe mediums to hards, even soft to hards or soft to mediums if they're really daring. So I feel there's a lot of variables in terms of strategy calls that a lot of the drivers can oh my goodness, can call here around the race, as I'm actually riding with Gexy. It looks to be the first driver to set a flying lap. Purple first sector, as we would expect to see early on in qualifying. And we'll see what kind of time he can put on the board just to get things started here and maybe get the pace set for a lot of the drivers. But when I'm looking at potential drivers to watch here in qualifying and even the race, of course, Vito in that Ferrari car is always a driver to keep an eye on. Where we'll see him probably qualify in the middle or towards the back of the pack here, I would think, as we're so used to seeing. But of course, in the two AlphaTauris are very strong as well in Cohen and Yaron Visser, so definitely to keep an eye out for them as well. But now I'm curious, Sunik, any insight on potentially some other maybe sleeper drivers that we can keep an eye out here as Gexy sets a 127.3 to kick off the qualifying session here.
We got a couple new guys joining the grid for today's race, and one to look out for. I've seen personally race this track as a Monster as
Wow.
That's I was pretty much gonna say you're gonna see some stuff like that out of Monster today, but well, he just took the stage himself and put it up there to 125.7, setting the bar high early.
Yeah, debut drive here in Tier 2 for Monster, and already showing why he wants to be here in Tier 2 and potentially making a push for Season 4, at least if one lap is any indication. But with a 125.7 on the soft tires, that's a very strong time and completely blowing all the other times we've seen out of the water. Formula Matt in that Mercedes is currently in a provisional second place, but that's with a 126.8, although he did set it on the medium tires, and now that I've got the tire graphic up, it does appear as though a lot of the drivers are opting to go out on those medium tires to set their first, at least their first flying laps. I'm not too sure if this is going to be what we're going to be expecting to see in terms of strategy calls, drivers trying with the medium tires, or potentially just putting out a banker lap just to have a time on the board. But still, Monster in provisional P1, and Krishna, I didn't even see him set the time. He's got a 125.9 with the soft, so already two drivers in those 125s. And I think Monster actually went faster. As I just saw, yep, there we go, switching to him. He's got the purple mini-map there, so 125.6 is the new pole position time. And now we set those on 2-lap-old soft tires. So I expect him potentially to come back into the pits and potentially set another lap a little bit later on. But looking pretty strong to kick things off, I would say, as I'm going to jump to Synchro as he's coming around the... it looks to be turn 3, ending sector 1. We'll see what kind of time he can put up on those soft tires with his first lap of the session. Goes purple in the first sector, so looking good at least to kick things off. But here in Sector 2, where he's coming around now, these two sharp, it looks to be a right-hander and then a left-hander that's coming up downhill here that we're going to see him go through. Very tricky to get right, but it looks like he handles both those turns very well, and looks to be putting himself in a decent position to potentially have a decent lap time here, I would think, in these...
Cool. I jinxed him there.
Yeah, potentially. We'll see. I was looking, no purple sector 2 for him, so a little bit slower there. So maybe I did speak a little bit too soon. I'm sorry about that, Synchro. If that is the case, I'll...
Well, if anything, he's got to have the confidence to put it in a purple sector 1. Sector 1, I feel, could be the hardest. I see he's just failing out of his lap now.
Yep, actually opting to go into the pit, so not overly happy with his lap. So I'll switch over to Nathan very quickly now as well, as he's coming around on the medium tires to put up his first lap of the session. So we'll see what he can do. As still Monsters 125.6 is the pole sitting time for now, but a purple second sector for Nathan, seemingly indicating he's on a pretty fast lap, and with those medium tires no less. So as he's coming around the final corner now in that McLaren car, let's see what kind of time he can put up. It's gonna be not on pole, but good enough for a provisional P4 with those medium tires, so not a bad lap time and putting himself in a pretty decent position.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if he stays up there. A lot of these guys might just absolutely chuck it at him and throw on some softs and go out there to try and beat that time the Monster set. But not a bad time for Nathan on the medium tires, so he's just got to decide whether he wants to stick with that or if he wants to go out and try and better his time.
Yeah, and when I'm looking at least at the fitted tires for the moment, lots of drivers, as I was indicating earlier, electing to put on those medium tires for the time being, to get some laps in. Now, if I look at if I switch that over to the best times, well, still, most of the times that have been set have been on those medium tires, as Mats takes a funky line there, potentially going to be bailing on his lap with those medium tires, I believe, as doesn't look to be the quickest lap form this time around. But now, let's actually jump...
He's actually up 3/10. He's on his second lap. He's actually only done one lap to warm up the tires. He's almost 4/10 up on his time.
Oh, fill me up on that. I kind of missed who was that actually?
Nathan, who we just talked
Nathan.
about setting the fourth. He's gonna come across the line, maybe improve a little bit, but now it's 2 laps almost, so now I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure if that's the best call. I know some drivers, they like to do 2 laps on the medium tires just to get them rubbered in a little bit more. Somebody who's not necessarily going to have to worry about that for the time being, at least, is Cohen, who's on those soft tires and set a purple first sector and a purple second sector, if I saw that correctly. And he's coming around the final corner now, always a threat for pole and a potential race win. So we'll see what kind of time he can put up. And look at that, it's a 125.8, not quick enough to beat Monster's time for provisional P1, but still good enough to end up in a provisional second place here with 8 minutes to go in qualifying. So a very solid lap from Cohen, as we've come to, I feel, really get used to seeing from him, as he's shown a lot of consistency over the last few races. So hopefully for him, he can keep that up here around Bahrain and potentially get another strong showing.
Absolutely. A lot of these guys that joined halfway through or towards the end of more recently, all these guys showing tremendous pace, so the newcomers really just knocking on the door.
Oh yeah, and it I mean, it's a little bit I mean, for the likes of, if you were there right from the get-go, like Vito, for example, who has seemingly just about run away with the championship all but officially now, I believe, from what I recall with the standings. But I mean, imagine if the likes of Cohen and even well, at least early on, the pace we're seeing from Monster in his first race. But a lot of these drivers that joined mid-session, we'd be potentially having a completely different story with the drivers' championship had they all started from the get-go. But I do think, at least for closing things out here in Season 3 and even leading into Season 4, it'll make things very exciting to see all the different battles and the pace all these drivers have, as Laparta, he opts to bail out on his lap going into the pits. So still, his 127.3 is his best time on the board. Somebody who hasn't set a time yet and looks to be poised to do so is Synchro in the Haas, as he's coming around the last corner, opens the DRS, crosses the line, and that's good enough for provisional P14 with a 127.4. And like most drivers here in this qualifying session, opting to do so on the medium tires. So now... Oh, sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, no. I thought Irish Sweet Potato was coming across to set a lap, but he's actually starting his. Just trying to pay attention to the guys crossing the line. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. Now I'm just looking at the, well, I guess the best time so far, and positions 1 through 5, as I think that was actually your own Visser, who sets a 125.675, and actually the real DC, and I believe that's his first race here in ISRL, sets a 125.648. Callis crosses the line with a 125.523. So it looks like pole position is just moving around here over the last little bit, as it went from the real DC and quickly snatched away once again by Callis.
This is good. This is great. You love to see this.
Yeah, but you love to see this, and just as I was going to say, the top 5, but now the top 7 all setting lap times on the soft tires. So it looks like these early indications of possible medium tire start strategies might be going out the window. As Chris had a purple third sector. I'm not too sure if he improved on his time, but sitting in 5th, and actually must have improved on his time, since he split the two AlphaTauris, as they were actually one behind another not too long ago. Irish Potato, coming off the win at Baku, sets a very fast 125.383, and he's now sitting on provisional pole, so looking to ride that momentum from the, as I mentioned, very strong showing with the win around Baku, and looking to use that momentum for another, potentially another strong race here at Bahrain.
Yeah, I just happened to catch his onboard as he's getting ready to come across the line. It's just almost 2 tenths.
Yep, and that's the thing. Nearly 2 tenths faster than the driver in second, but Monster, I'm seeing, is coming out now on an outlap for the moment, so he's going to look to go quicker and potentially challenge for that provisional pole. And even Cohen as well, he's out on an outlap on those soft tires. Well, they're both on the soft tires. So potentially another change of provisional pole before qualifying is over, if one of these two drivers can set something very fast. Now I'm going to jump.
I can tell you that what you've seen in the top 10 is definitely not going to be the outcome 2 minutes from now. 3 minutes from now, rather. Sorry.
Oh no, as Mats retires from the session in the pit lane, it looks like. So comfortable with his time, looking to potentially conserve some more tires for the race. But let's actually ride with, I'm going to ride with Monster now, as he's looking like he's going to be setting a flying lap, and it actually looks like he's using a set of soft tires he's already set a lap on, at the very least, at least from what I can see here on the tire graphic info, as they're already 2 laps old. So in terms of strategy to start the race, that's a lot of extra wear on those soft tires, and already, in my personal experience with the soft tires, they only really last maybe at most 9 to 10 laps. So if you've already gotten 2 now, if he goes through with this lap, then it's probably going to be 3 laps on those tires.
Nope. I believe you just have the detail set to best instead of fitted. So,
yes, that was correct. Yep, that was exactly correct. So I will take that back, what I was saying before, as I've made the correction, and he's on those fresh softs to set those times. Yeah, took a new set of tires, and we'll see if that'll actually work out for him as he's coming around the last corner. Will it be quick enough to beat the Red Bull's time? No, it's not. It was 6/10 slower than his previous time. So I'm going to quickly now jump to Cohen as he's coming around, coming through the swooping left-hander into this very high-speed right-hander. Got to make sure not to clip the curb on the inside or else you're not going to have a good time. Actually, 3 seconds slower than his previous time, and actually not even using any ERS. So maybe a bit of a a bit of an error earlier on in the lap, so opted to abort it. But now he's going to have to go around and potentially set another one now if he wants any chance of taking that pole. But no, chooses to go into the pits. So I guess happy with where he's sitting in provisional P7 because I do not believe he's going to have enough time to go around and set another lap. Here, let's see who else is on the lap. Yeah, let's take a look at Gexy here. And I see somebody going slow in Sector 3. Hopefully it's just letting drivers letting quicker drivers to go through on the flying laps. But we have Irish Potato on an out lap, about ready to start their flying lap. Callus as well, but just about ready to start, or just started their flying laps. So lots of drivers to keep an eye out here in this top 10, with now already, blink and you miss it, 15 seconds to go in qualifying. So qualifying honestly has just flown by, it feels, here around Bahrain, as the times just keep falling, and now all of a sudden it's do or die for the or for whoever wants to start the race. So let's take a look at
Gexy didn't make it to the line. Unless that timing. No, Gexy didn't make it
nope.
to the line.
Didn't make it to the line, and the real DC actually didn't make it to the line either in time. So there's they're over, at least in terms of their qualifying. Now let's take a look. Joran Visser is coming through at nearing the end of Sector 2. Has a Haas car in front of him there. But I don't think that's going to affect him as much. Goes purple in the second sector, so looking to be a pretty quick time, and potentially using Synchro as a bit of an advantage here to get that extra tow and to get that extra speed down these long straights in Sector 3. We'll see if that comes to his advantage as he comes around the last corner, opens DRS. What's it going to be? Not quick enough for pole, as it's a 125.397. But now if I jump...
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Some of the finishers.
But Callus! Sorry to cut you off, but Callus, that's a 125.289. And Nathan just crosses the line now with a 125.326. So right at the end of the session, it's Callus on pole, Nathan JB in second, and Irish Potato, after seemingly having locked up that pole position, will be starting in third after those times set right at the end. And look at the gap between first and like the top 5, all separated by less than 0.2 of a second. So if that doesn't get you excited for the race, I don't know what will. And even if we keep going down basically to the top 10, top 11, they're all separated by less than a full second. So this is going to make things for a very exciting race, I feel. Everybody in the top 10 starting on the soft tires from what I can see. So seems like we're going to have a pretty straightforward strategy, at least for the front runners. But of course, from positions 11 to 20, if they all get their own choice, free choice of tires, sorry, so then we might see potential changes and modifications in the strategies. But here we are. Just we've got a bit of a break between qualifying and the race. Just get everything into the zone. So now going into the race after what we saw in qualifying, any early talking points that you can think of as Formula Matt hits that ready up button, and it looks like we've got the timer ticking down now.
That qualifying session was extremely close, so expect a bit of tight racing between the top 10 here, like maybe a little bit of DRS training we saw in Tier 3, but if someone just gets the move done, this could be a really good one.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be extremely exciting, and I'm I'm as excited I am. We're gonna have to sit through a bit of a formation lap first, let the drivers warm up the tires, but it'll give us a chance to run through the grid. So as mentioned, Callis, after setting that very quick lap right at the end of the session, starting on pole, starting in first position. Nathan JB in that McLaren in second, with Irish Potato still in a very strong third. Your own Visser in the AlphaTauri in fourth, and the real DC starting in fifth on his inaugural ISRL race. Right behind him, another first-time ISRL racer, Monster, starting in sixth, with AJ Wuhan in seventh. Behind him, it's Krishna in the oh my goodness, in the Racing Point. I almost called it the Force India. I think you're getting to me, Asunik. With Chris 85 in ninth, and Cohen rounding out the top 10, all in the soft tires. Synchro starting on the medium tires, best of the rest in starting in 11th. Gexy behind him in 12th, with Bumblebee in 13th in the other Renault car. Formula Matt in 14th, and behind him Laparta starting from P15, but that's no worries, as we've seen him come through the grid. Another driver we've seen come through the grid many times before. Keep an eye out for him this race, as always. Right behind him, starting in P16, ISRL Vito. Right behind Vito, we've got Matt's 9555 in that Red Bull. ISRL Jordan in 18th behind him, so not the best qualifying for Jordan. And Cruz 9K starting in 19th, so not what we're used to seeing out of the Mercedes driver either. And Michael Fierez, or El Biku in the Haas, rounds out the grid, starting in P20th. As we've got the
softs as well.
Yep, on the softs. So let's actually bump the tire detail. Just take a quick look at this. So yeah, top 10 on the softs, as Callis and Nathan got a little bit close. But looking at positions 11 through 20th. Just about everyone opting for the medium tires, except for Gexy and Cruz looking to start on the hard tires. So maybe looking to do a hard to softs. And Michael Fierez starting on the softs from the back of the grid, so maybe hoping to get some overtakes early on and work his way up the grid while everybody's bunched up at the start. But here we go. Everyone's lining up here to kick things off, and in just a moment we're going to have the 5 red lights to start the Bahrain Grand Prix here for the ISRL Tier 2 Championship. So here we go. Let's jump to Nathan so we can actually see the lights. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights waiting, and they're off. And here we go. We're kicking things off here as the cars race down to turn 1. A nice start by Nathan as he's up into the lead. Callis in second. Are we going to see some nice battling into turn 1? I don't have the best views here. It looked like there was potentially a bit of contact, but it looks like everyone's coming through okay. As Nathan's still in the lead, Callis in second, your own Visser in third. As the Gagala car is coming to turn 3, and this is where things can get a little bit tricky with everyone close together as they're coming through the S section. Who is that? That's Laparta's race over. And that's Chris, yes, as you mentioned, taken with them. And we have a safety car here in lap 1, as the drivers have made it through all of one sector before we saw an incident. And like I said, it's things can get a little bit hectic in those high-speed S section here at the start of Sector 2. And unfortunately for Laparta, that's his race over. And Michael Fierez actually got a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with ISRL Jordan. So let's actually take a look. Does he have any wing damage? I'm trying to keep an eye out.
Yes, he does.
He does.
I was riding on board with Laparta because I saw the gaggle of cars at the back, and seemingly he just went into, I believe that was turn 4 at the end of the second DRS straight, I guess you could say the first in Sector 1, and just got hooked and just right into the wall, taking Chris, Synchro, Laporta. Like, Synchro has heavy damage to the car. Chris, I'm not sure. I think he has damage as well. They're both, all of them are going to have to pit, but Laporta's race over before he'd even end Sector 1.
Yeah, now, do you suspect any potential form of foul play that maybe the stewards might need to look into after the race, or would you qualify it more as a bit of a racing incident? Because I'll be honest, I missed most of the incident up until I just caught it from the corner of my eye of Lepartus Williams just going way off track into the wall, but I didn't quite
Yeah.
get to see what happened there.
Unfortunately, I was just riding on board with Laparta, so I had the T-cam, and it just, I don't understand what happened, because he was taking a sharp right hand, as we know that corner is, and the car seemingly just took off to the left. There was obviously some contact there. We'll have to see later on, but very unfortunate for the Williams driver. And
Yeah,
Chris,
so
down, look at, you can see on the position change, Monster down 11 spots. I don't know what happened to him either.
oh yeah, well actually I think Monster actually had to go into the pits, as we see is not with the rest of the group as he's trying to catch up, put on the medium tires, so potentially got caught up in that incident, and even another incident, and Irish Potato as well also had to pit, so all the way down in 16th, so between Irish Potato and Monster, I would say they're probably the biggest losers on the start of the race. But that's good news if you cruise, good news if you're the likes of Matt, up 6 positions, even Formula Matt in the, oh my goodness, in the Mercedes car, also up 6 positions, as the, looks to be the biggest movers in terms of moving up in the rankings here on lap 2 after the safety car. But hopefully we're not stuck under safety car for too long, as I would like to go back racing sooner rather than later, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still,
I don't
I'd
know
like...
if this hurts anybody's strategy, so it's just... Again, we don't know what happened, if Irish New Potato and Monster just seemingly pit just to try and change the strategy, or if there was something that happened, but...
Yeah, well, looking at the both of them, they opted to put on the medium tires, and they had started on the softs, of course, since they did qualify on those tires, and they ended up in the top 10. As wow, that was I think that was your own Vasseur going really taking a funky line to warm up his tires, and Synchro.
Go into the settings and find out that Monster actually went from the soft to the medium and a front wing change. No front wing change or anything for New Potato, but front wing change for Monster, front wing for Chris, and for Albiku as well. So,
all right, that's some great insight. Great insight, Sudik. Thank you so much for that. As I mean, it makes sense now in terms of why a lot of these drivers pit. Irish Potato, maybe not so much. Not really any wing change, but maybe choosing to take that pit stop under the safety car, and maybe modifying the strategy on the fly to something that could potentially work a little bit better for him. Maybe take that pit stop, go on the medium tires, go for a longer stint, and try to either, I don't think you can bring those medium tires to the end, but maybe do a soft medium to soft. Potentially, I'm trying to think of what the best strategy option would be at this time. As I'm seeing, what happened here with Bumblebee, as looked like Bumblebee actually fell down the order a little bit, but thankfully positions were given back there. So no harm, no foul, but...
What is he doing?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what's going on here in the middle of the pack. Must be some of the safety car indications that are maybe messing up some of the drivers, but we're gonna have to sort that out soon if you're in that right around P11, P12, P13, because safety car is coming in this lap. So Nathan JB, after getting a fantastic start off the line, in first, and is the de facto safety car now, as he's gonna hold the group up, probably kick things off right around the last turn, but firstly going to wait for the safety car to go back into the pit lane. Now look at how close Callus and your own Visser are, just waiting for him to go, and speaking of go, that's what he's doing now. Gets a little bit of a tank slapper out of the last corner, and that's actually what Callus was hoping for, I would think, as now racing down the line, Callus is right up close. Let's get with the onboard, gonna try to make a move down the outside. Nathan got very close, as they're gonna go side by side through turn 1. Who's going to come out ahead of who as they're still side by side? Callis had to go way wide. Your own Visser up into second, and now he's side by side with Nathan. So Nathan, just as he finished going side by side with one car, another car just says, well, my turn now. And still, out of all of that, that's still Nathan in first, and your own Visser in second, with AJ Wuhan right behind, and Callis falling down into fourth, and Monster not having the restart he wanted, as let's quickly go to him. He's got wing damage on the end of Sector 1, and he's going to have to pit again after just putting on those medium tires. Michael Fures goes off track. Elbiku off track. So not what he was hoping for. And is that Bumblebee having a bit of an issue in the downhill left-hander as he's fallen down the order to 17th. So not what the Renault drivers are hoping for on this safety car restart, but it's Nathan in first, your own Visser in second, AJ Wuhan in third, and then it's the 2 racing points of Callis and Krishna in fourth and fifth, right behind. The real DC making an overtake on Formula Matt to go up into seventh, as he's going to try to make his way back up the grid and close that gap back up.
Whew. Catch your breath.
Yeah, no kidding. As well, can't wait for too long, as I think I've got Synchro, who sets a fastest lap on the soft tires, fresh set of soft tires, chucking it down the outside, almost hits the back of ISRL Chris in that McLaren. Thankfully, it looks like no harm, no foul there, as it's still Chris in 15th, Synchro in 16th, as he had to move. Vito overtake, Vito and Gexy battling it out. This is the battle we all wanted to see a little bit earlier on in the season. I mean, still, we love to see the battles, but maybe not as much now. And, oh, look at the Red Bulls. Actually, we saw that both Red Bulls took each other out. Matt's getting the worst of it as Irish Potato was able to get back on circuit, but not what they were hoping for, as thankfully for Matt, there's no wing damage, but still down in 16th. Not what he was hoping for, as now we've got Synchro battling it out with Chris, and through all this I can barely keep track of what's going on at the front of the grid now, as there's just so much action going around in the mid-pack towards the back of the order.
What a spectacle we have today.
Yeah, what a spectacle.
Just throw a blanket, they're just going to get into that DRS train once after, I believe, maybe this lap, but the next lap is going to get activated. It's just going to
believe probably maybe the start of this lap, and there we go. We see it in the bottom. DRS has been enabled. Now I'm going to sit here with Vito just for a little bit, as it's still Gexy in 9th, Vito in 10th, and actually the real DC working his way up as they go side by side with Cohen. But the real DC getting just the slightly better line, as he's able to go up into 6th. Cohen in 7th, but still keeping that nose in down the outside here for turn 3, but backs out of it probably wisely, as I don't think that was going to work down the outside, so can reassess and tackle that again. But actually, I just saw right from the corner there, Callis putting the pressure on AJ, as he's, there we go, right behind in this battle for the last podium position early on, as Nathan is starting to build just about a 1 second gap. But I want to keep an eye on this. Synchro
didn't even deploy his DRS. Whatever.
Oh, maybe a DRS fault, as Vito is overtaking or attempting, takes a bit of a corner cut there on the line to get the move done. So that's a little bit odd, but Krishna is out. He's out on the right-hand side. We saw him there, as I think he maybe clipped the inside curb. Let's take a look at that again. We have another safety car, as there we go. We see him, tire broken, I believe, clip the inside curb on that fast right-hander. And that fast right-hander at the end of Sector 2, start of Sector 3, takes its first victim of the Tier 2 race. And now we're seeing all of these drivers on the soft tires pitting, and that's going to promote Formula Matt up into first. And look at that, ISRL Vito, surprise, surprise, up into second now, under this safety car, on those 6-lap old medium tires as well. And Cruz, after starting basically from the back of the order, up into third, and looking really strong on those hard tires as well, and even Gexy on those hard tires. in fourth. And another reason, never say never. Irish Potato, we saw, what was it, a lap or two ago, getting caught up in that incident with Mats, and already recovered and back up into fifth after we saw those about the top 5 or top 6 drivers go into the pits and take their pit stop under the safety car.
Yeah, and with another safety car restart, you're just going to see the pressure from the guys who just pitted. Nathan down in 7th, obviously going to be a fresher tires than the guys in front of him, but key here is to just get through traffic as quickly as possible to not wear those tires out, or else this pitting under the safety car is essentially useless, all for naught.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I mean now,
a hectic 7 laps.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're only 7 laps in, and I mean, if the action is going to be like this for the rest of the race, I might not even have a voice left by the end of the tier 2 race, to be honest. But it's crazy scenes to see here. As 7 laps in, we've had 2 safety cars already in this race, and at least from what I'm seeing here, it looks like the strategies are all over the place. We've got some 6-lap-old mediums, 6-lap-old hards, 3-lap-old softs, 4-lap-old mediums, and a whole bunch of just freshly new mediums, new softs, new hards. So a whole bunch of different drivers trying a whole bunch of different pit strategies. So it seems like as if, I'll be honest, here 7 now, just about 8 laps in, I have no idea what the best strategy is anymore.
It's really hard to tell. It really is. I don't have the best insight on it because my strategy was all over the place today, so...
Yep, now...
I don't know.
And that's the thing. Of course, we all knew that the safety car was going to just throw the strategies for a whirl. I think we all kind of knew that. But now, given all the different strategies, we have... it looks like Formula Matt and Vito probably committing to the initial strategy as they're sticking with their mediums. Cruz and Gexy, the same idea, but they're on the hards. So they're looking pretty poised for a potential one-stop. At least in this stage of the race. But of course, with only being late 8 laps in, there's so much more racing to go here. And even now, I mean, taking the hards 20 laps around this circuit, well, I guess about 21 laps, minus whatever laps are left under the safety car. If I'm looking at the likes of... It could be a little bit close, but what I'm looking at, Jeroen Visser, Callis, Cohen, Jordan, and even Mats now from the back of the order, if they can manage their tire wear, they might be poised to potentially go to the end as well.
Oh, we've seen these guys before absolutely nail managing the tires, so we have... It's a long 20 laps we got.
Oh yeah, it'll be a long 20 laps to go, and if the first 8 are any indication, there'll be no shortage of action, especially on the safety car restart, as we saw with the first safety car restart, and I figure the second one is going to be more of the same. Now, of course, I haven't spoken about it too much, as the safety car is coming in this lap, so I'll have to touch upon it quickly. Those hard tire drivers and those medium tire drivers are really going to have to make sure they've got the heat in their tires for the safety car restart, or they might be at a big disadvantage to the likes of potentially Synchro or you know, some of the other drivers potentially have done a better job of getting heat in their tires. As let's actually jump to Formula Matt, as he's leading the safety car and or leading the crew and not really holding everybody back all that much. Vito right behind as we're kicking things off, and look at the start that it looks as though Vito has, and looking very poised to make an overtake into turn 1. Formula Matt trying to defend as they're going to go side by side. Vito around the outside. Thankfully, no damage here early on, but Vito's so close, just gets squeezed out. Now has to watch out for Cruz, who's right behind now in this little 3-car battle. Jordan overtook Chris a little bit further back, and there we Cruz and Vito battling it out. They're going side by side through this S section. This is a little bit dangerous here. What's going to happen? Cruz backs out, and that's Vito up into P2, but Vito goes wide. Vito goes wide, and that's Cruz back up into P2, and Vito might lose out on third to Gexy, who's right behind it. Look at this. We've got about 6 cars. That's Irish Potato going side by side with Gexy.
Whoa.
And there's a
He's in
little
the
bit of, oh
back
my
of
goodness,
Vito.
it's quite literally a train here. As Vito is still, after all of that, side by side with Cruz. But no, okay. Cruz in second, Formula Matt in first, Vito in third, Irish Potato in fourth, Gexy in fifth. But I'm having trouble keeping up with what's going on here as it's just been crazy with this restart. I need to breathe a little bit.
Yeah, AJ Wuhan all over the back of Nathan. As we know, this could be for the lead.
Yep, could potentially be for the lead. But so let's actually take a look at this as looks like AJ right up close. Both on the medium tires. But actually, Synchro. Yep, showing that pace on the soft tires, overtaking Gexy. Look at Nathan right behind. Look, is Nathan going to get both of them as they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1? Nathan down the inside, and it looks like he does get the double overtake. What a move by Nathan.
Gexy has the wing damage now.
Oh no, Gexy taking that wing damage as he mentioned. That's not going to be great for him as we've got Gexy and your own Visser. Gexy going wide. So we see that end plate damage very well there as he's starting to fall down the order. He's going to have to watch out for Callus right behind. And it looks like Callus gets that move done very, very swiftly on Gexy with that wing damage. And Gexy really starting to fall behind now. So not what he was hoping for here as he might have to make another pit stop to fix that, to get that wing damage fixed. Now, Irish Potato, that's the thing. He's dropping down the order now. But through all of that, Formula Matt has built a 2-second gap to Cruz. And we've got a Mercedes 1-2 here at Bahrain on lap 10. But I'm riding on board with Irish Potato. I'm very close
Bumblebee's around.
Oh no! And there's a yellow flag now. And there we go. Thankfully, Bumblebee is able to get back on track. No harm, no foul with that. But is Irish Potato going to try a move on Vito? There's no DRS just yet, but all 3 are close. He's going to try to make a lunge down the inside, but just doesn't have enough room as we do see Gexy going into the pits, getting off those hard tires. As Monster overtaking Jordan, so from being in the back of the grid on those medium tires, already up into 13th, so working his way back up. AJ and your own Visser going side by side just about, and AJ gets the overtake done, and Callus right there potentially looking to squeeze in and catch your own Visser napping as they get very close. Irish Potato making an overtake on Vito, and I saw that they're 3 wide now between Vito, Nathan, and Irish Potato. Irish Potato getting the worst of it as now we've got Vito in 3rd, Nathan in 4th, Irish Potato in 5th, and Synchro in 6th. And what a sight we had there as Nathan now up into 3rd, Vito falling down into 4th. As they were going side by side, and Vito and Nathan still battling it out like crazy here. And this whole battle for basically 3rd all the way down to what seems to be 6th or 7th is crazy. Oh no.
Cohen had a little bit of contact, just had a bit of understeer and drove up into the side of Monster.
Not what he was hoping for, and that's heavy wing damage for Cohen, so he's gonna have to go into the pits. And that's gonna get off those hard tires that are only 2 laps old. So not what he was hoping for. But jumping back into the action, AJ looking to make a lunge on the inside. Is he going to make a double overtake? No, he's not. But can he at least now get the 1? As he gets a tank slapper and has to really swerve and is actually losing out to your own Visser now because of that tank slapper out of the exit of turn 1. And now he's going to have to watch out for Callus and the real DC very close behind him as we got a great little onboard. But look behind as we had Callus and the real DC almost side by side. As nobody's giving anybody a chance to breathe here on track and in the commentator's booth, it seems.
Absolutely.
Like, still now, we have Nathan putting the pressure on Cruz for 2nd, but all of this battling has just been letting Formula Matt starting to build a gap in clean air. And actually, look at this, Nathan going down the inside, and that's Nathan now up into second with those medium tires, overtaking Cruz, who falls down to third. But Cruz trying to make a lunge again, still trying to battle for that position, but just doesn't quite have the grip to round the outside. So that's Nathan in third, Nathan in second, Cruz in third, and Vito in fourth, with Irish Potato rounding out the top 5, but Synchro right there, very close in sixth. Now, we've got some, looks like we got some overtakes happening elsewhere on the track, as it looked like that was Mats that overtook El Biku for P14, so looking to get a few more points, at least early on. I'm seeing Monster closing the gap on Chris. He's got the DRS open, as we saw there briefly, but maybe a little bit too far, actually looking to make a lunge down the inside. It looks like the tires tapped just a tiny little bit, but Chris, having a slightly better line, is able to hold on to that 11th. Now, if I'm going to jump back up the order, we've got AJ very close to Synchro for that 6th, only 2/10 and getting closer as Gexy sets the fastest lap with those medium tires.
There's a little bit of groups beginning to form, their own little battles on track.
Yeah, because that's the thing with all these battles, everyone's kind of caught up battling each other, so whoever is able to kind of get just a little bit of clean air, get away from some of those battles, starting to build that group. So we're seeing the gap between the real DC and Chris, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 3, as that's Cohen going into the pits. He gets a 5-second penalty for his troubles as well. Not what he was hoping for, and as I was...
Wuhan goes wide.
Oh no.
Now everybody's going to gobble him up here.
Yep, as we see that there, as he's very close, going side by side with Yaron Visser. So doing a good job of holding his own there. But Yaron Visser going down the inside, but actually Yaron Visser locks up. So that actually opens the door for Callis, as Callis now trying to make a lunge down the inside. We've got a few drivers pitting. That's Formula Matt and Vito taking their pit stop. So Nathan takes the lead of the race. With Cruz in second, we have a yellow flag in Sector 1. I don't know what that's for, but that's...
Cohen's ghost came out of the pit after.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't see an incident, but with what's been going on, I wouldn't have been surprised there. As look at how close everybody is here, in the here for the lead of the race. It's still anybody's race to win, it seems, here on lap 14. Oh my goodness, that was AJ loses the grip and falls down into 8th, and now he's gonna have to watch out because oh my goodness, Chris coming around the corner almost potentially ran right into AJ as AJ was trying to get back on track. But that mistake was very costly for AJ as he falls down to 8th and is gonna have to work his way back up the order. Now I'm seeing Irish Potato in third, closing the gap a little bit on Cruz, only 3/10 back. So potentially looking to make an overtake and try to close up that gap on. And what happened to Monster here? As Monster went for a little bit of a spin at the end of Sector 2, and Monster has left the session. That's not what we want to see here. As if that's him leaving the session and leaving the car on track, that's could. Oh, and actually, just as I was switching over, AJ is in the wall himself, and AJ retires from the session as well. But we have a full safety car now. But now I'm trying to see if AJ's tire is off. It almost looks like it might be.
Oh yeah.
Yep, so that's AJ retiring from the session, as not a race to remember for AJ, and actually not a race to remember for the Williams as a whole. But here we are on lap 15 with a third safety car, with Nathan in P1, Cruz in P2, Irish Potato rounding out the podium positions in P3, and Yaron Visser Callis rounding out the top 5, but still anybody's race to win. But now, I need to ask you, Sunik, slightly, because I've been talking a lot here. If you're Cruz, if you're Irish Potato, and you know that Nathan and everybody behind are all on only 7-lap-old tires, do you pit under safety car now, take that shortened pit stop to get a fresh set of tires to the end, or do you hope to stick with the strategy and go to the end of the race?
It's a tough one here, you know. You got to think that Nathan and maybe not Yorin and Callis, but lot of the medium guys that are on the 7-lap old tires might have to pit again, but he's in like a no man's land because the ideal tire for him to take to the end he already has on the car. So yeah, I don't think. Yeah, he's not made a pit stop, so he could go to mediums, but it's just.
And
I guess we're
actually,
gonna
just as
find
we're
out right
saying
here.
that, Nathan going into the pit, so Cruz follows suit. So Nathan going into the pits was potentially exactly what Cruz and Irish Potato wanted. And look at that, we have everybody going into the pits except for Chris, who's staying out. Mats is staying out with the hard tires. Chris sticking with those 8-lap-old medium tires, but other than that, Nathan, Irish Potato, Cruz, Callis, your own Vasseur, the real DC, Jordan, all pitting and all opting for those medium tires to go probably till the end of the race. And look at that. That brings Formula Matt back up into 4th.
He's in great position now.
Yep, and Formula Matt's just sticking, just sticking to the strategy he had set out at the start of the race, and it looks like that's can potentially work out for him pretty well here, as he's put himself in a great spot in a P4 and on only 1 lap old hard tires. So if he can keep those in a decent operating temperature range for the restart, he could be in a very decent spot. But of course, that's easier said than done. He's got 3 very fast drivers, all on fresh medium tires right behind him, looking to get those overtakes done and challenge the likes of Chris 85 and Matt and Nathan for the podium as well.
This could be. I mean, it's still the racing up front has been so close. Like, I don't even think that we're close to even finding out what our podium finishers are. Because before safety car, everybody from 1st to 6th was separated by 6 seconds, and we all know that just a little wheel spin out of a corner, a 6-second gap between anybody can be gone down to like under a second. So,
well, exactly.
This race is far from over.
Exactly. Plus, the other thing too is that there's also something to be said about the section that we just saw the drivers go through, and we're seeing Monster and Gexy go through now, or just finishing to go through now. The end of Sector 2, leading into Sector 3. We've seen, looked like that was, I think it was AJ that got caught up in there, and we saw quite a few drivers getting caught up and getting spun, as Chris actually opting to pit maybe 1 lap too late, as Mats is staying out and Mats takes the lead, and that promotes Nathan in 2nd and Formula Mats into the podium position. But I do have to say, but at the end of Sector 2, start of Sector 3, that inside curb, you take one line a little bit too tight, and that could be a spin, right? And if that happens when you're up into 3rd, especially after the safety car restart, that could bring you from P1, P2, P3, potentially all the way down to, P13, 14, 15, maybe even 16 as well. And even this little S section here, we saw Laparta very early in this race get caught in an incident, but on the safety car restart, all the cars are bunched up. Wouldn't be crazy to think that could be a potential worrisome area as well, along with this section the drivers are heading to now. This downhill left-hander that is very easy to go way wide if you're not careful about it.
Yeah. Ooh. We got the Mercedes both pitted, but are on completely opposite strategies. So, see, you're getting bunched up. Safety car even slept yet? No, I don't believe we've gotten the.
I haven't gotten the warning yet, but normally it's right around the end of Sector 2, I believe, that we get it. So let's ride with Matt and see if the lights turn off. Yes, they do. The safety car is coming in this lap, so Matt's going to hold up the pack a little bit, let the safety car take that advance, go into the pit lane so he can get that restart on their way without too much delay. And with 17 laps to go, going to start lap 18. We're going to go back to racing, so it's going to be an 11-lap sprint to the finish. As seemingly everyone's taken probably their last pit stop, save for potentially any incidents. And look at Matt's warming up the tires, and I believe now is when he's going to start to go with Nathan right behind. Actually, what happened to Formula Matt, as Formula Matt messes up the last turn and falls all the way down into 9th, right on the safety car restart. That's Nathan going down the inside, getting a really nice start, and taking P1 from Matt. So Nathan at first, and what's going on with Callis? As Vito is going side by side with Synchro, but Callis falls down the order. I think he got caught up into a potentially incident in turn 1. Not what he was hoping for, as he was poised for a pretty decent showing, but now all the way down in 15th, they're gonna have to work his way back up. Jordan and Michael Fures, Jordan and Elbiku battling it out, and it looks like Jordan just got the better of Elbiku there, as now it looks like Elbiku and Gexy are going side by side here. Still anybody's position to play for, as it looks like as if Gexy just gets the better of Elbiku. We got the Renaults battling it out in the back for I guess for bragging rights between the two of them. But Cruz and Matt's going side by side, and it looks like Cruz overtakes Matt. So those 9-lap-old hard tires not working for Matt's the way he was hoping for on this restart, as he's been
eaten up by his teammate and now Cruz.
Yeah, so not what he was hoping for, but still a pretty solid P4 for him for the time being. And there's still a decent 1-second gap to Vito, as Elbiku takes a 3-second time penalty. But Vito's gonna have to watch out because he's got Synchro and Jeroen Visser right behind, as they're both going to be pushing. Irish Potato sets the fastest lap. That looks to be Jeroen Visser looking to make a lunge down the inside of Synchro. They're going to go side by side, but Jeroen Visser is on the inside, but Synchro on the outside turns into the inside and is able to keep that position. But Jeroen Visser probably going to come right back, as we see right there, and they're still looking to make that move. It looked like Formula Matt trying to get off the racing line, or get off the racing line, break the toe. It's still anybody's position to play for. This is dangerous here as they're going side by side, as it looks like Jeroen Visser going way wide to get that overtake done. So Synchro probably not overly happy about that, as that was never really much of a spot to see too much overtaking with. But still Synchro keeping very close to Jeroen Visser. But through all of that, Nathan JB has built up nearly a 2-second gap. 2-second through everybody else battling. That was Chris, it looked like, looking to make a look on Jordan, but thought a little bit better of it, as Jordan's still in 11th and Chris in 12th, as they're battling for a few extra points there. Down the bottom of the down near the bottom of the grid. Actually, look at how close Chris is to Jordan now. He's gonna try again down the outside this time around. They're still side by side, as there's a little bit of contact, and it actually opens the door for Callis, as he gets a very nice exit, and Callis overtakes Chris to go up into 12th. So Chris, that move not really working out for him, as he falls down into 13th, and he's gonna have to watch out for Elbiku, who's looking to make a move. But actually, there was some contact there, it looked like, I thought. Not the best view though, but that potentially solidifies Callis' 12th for the time being. But let's go back to a little bit further up on the order, as I thought Synchro was going to get very close to Jeroen Visser. Speaking of close, Vito sticking very close to Mats for that 4th. Vito looking to snag as many points as he possibly can. As Jordan and Callis are actually battling it out now, as they're going side by side. Jordan's still able to hold off Callis for the time being, as they're going to go down this downhill. But actually, look at Callis making a lunge down the inside. What a daring move by Callis there, as that's not really much of an overtaking spot you see all that much. But Jordan left the door open, and Callis said, yep, well, thank you very much, I will take that position. As now Chris overtakes Jordan, and that was, it looked like Michael Fures, Elbiku going a little bit wide there as well.
Irish New Potatoes beginning to close the gap.
Yeah, so we might actually potentially see, and look at that, Irish Potato, as right as you say that, sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. But I'm looking at this little 3-car battle between Mats, Vito, and Jeroen Visser. Jeroen Visser making a lunge down the inside of Vito. going side by side and actually seemingly very easily takes that overtake. Now Matt's in the real DC battling it out a little bit further down, and that's actually Gexy, I believe, that had the door open for him. And Gexy up into 9th, Mats and Jeroen Visser overtaking Mats now. So Jeroen Visser up into 4th, as he's going to try to close that nearly 4-second gap to Cruz now, and potentially get involved with that battle. But it looks like at least now for the top 2, top 3, the gaps are sort of starting to form now. But still in the middle ground, Formula Matt actually losing out on 2 spots. But oh, that was such a nice view there, as we got a nice little 4-car battle going on here, as there's a whole gaggle of cars here for right around P8, P9, even P7 to an extent. Who's going to take this? Callis in the real DC. It looks like Callis makes the overtake for the time being. Formula Matt right there going side by side around the outside. But look at Chris now. Who's going to take...
This is...
I just need to watch here for a second to figure out what's going on. But it looks like as if... okay, so Chris is passing Formula Matt, but Formula Matt's still side by side, so still anybody's position to take. Nope, Chris had the better line, so we'll take that 11th. But now with DRS, it could be potentially anybody's position to take, but no, Matt's actually going into the pit. So opting to pit off the hard tires. And now, with a few laps to go, going to have a lot of work cut out for him. Gexy and Callis battling it out, and Callis gets the better of Gexy as he moves up into 8th now. But we'll see for how long, as I'm sure it'll be Gexy's turn now to have that DRS. As Formula Matt pitting for the soft tires, so looking to make a push to the end on the soft tires.
Maybe get that fastest lap point if he can get another position over Monster, who's virtually disqualified from the event as he left. So
yep, as he left on track, and that's not what we like to see. But I'm looking here, a nice little onboard of Synchro getting close to Vito in their battle with Mats. But still, Mats in 5th, Vito in 6th, Synchro in 7th, and with a little bit of a gap behind, Callis in 8th. As it's still Nathan leading the way in that McLaren car. So a strong showing from him, and another strong showing so far from Irish Potato. Really feeling that Red Bull as of late, riding in P2.
Callis is cruising too. He's, after having that trouble at the start, he's right back up in it.
Yep, up into 8th and actually closing the gap, and sets a fastest lap for his troubles on the medium tires. So looking to make a push now in these final stages of the final 6 laps here of the Grand Prix, where it's still anybody's positions to play for here in terms of the middle pack. Between Jeroen Visser, Mats, Vito, and Synchro and Callis. Yeah, Synchro locked up there, and Callis said, well, you don't have to tell me twice, and overtakes Synchro to go up into 7th. And Bumblebee looks like he chose to pit for soft tires as well, so we might see a bit of a battle for that last point-paying position between Formula Mats and Bumblebee. So another battle to keep an eye out here in these stages of the race. And actually, let's take a look here, as it looks like Formula Matt with those soft tires just worked in maybe a little bit more than Bumblebee, but actually no, Bumblebee comes right back as they're going side by side here. And that's actually, oh no, that's not a place that you can try to go side by side and be overly successful, as Bumblebee found out, as now just after pitting for those soft tires, takes some wing damage and might need to pit again. Formula Matt's now overtaking Monster as well, or the ghost of Monster, I should say. Vito getting very close to Matt's. Is he gonna make a lunge down the start finish straight? Look at how much he's gaining. Goes down the inside, up into 5th, and very easily gets that move done, but goes deep. Goes a little bit deep into turn 1, and Matt's taking a bit of the better braking. Takes that 5th position right back with what ended up being a nice little switchback move. So Vito got a little bit too overzealous with that move. Took a little bit too much speed into turn 1, and
here goes Callis too.
Yep, now has to watch out for Callis. as Formula Mats, that's now the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But now, after all of that work, Vito once again has to see that Red Bull right in front of him, and he's probably not too happy about that. But now let's see.
Under the last safety car, Mats did not pit his tires.
Yeah, so Mats doing a very good job. Mats is, as much as he was falling down the order early on, once he got the heat into those hard tires, it seems like as if they're kind of working fairly well for him, but still needs to watch out as Vito is very close to him and looking once again to take two on that move. Down the start-finish straight, but might not want to get too crazy with it because Callis also looking to get something done, and Callis has a very nice exit as we see. Let's actually ride on board with Callis as they're kind of stuck in a DRS train. If they're going to go to the inside, Callis going to try to make a lunge on the inside. Are we going to see three wide? No, we're not, but Vito does a bit of a better job this time around. Take two to get that move on Mats, and look at Callis with the grip on those medium tires on the exit. He's going to make a lunge down the inside of Mats, and Mats going side by side now, but I think with the medium tires, that's all the advantage Callis needs to take that P6 and demote Matt into 7th. But now Matt's going to have to watch out for Synchro, who makes a lunge down the inside as well on that right-hander, as it looks like Synchro now takes the move. They're still going to go and battle, but it's all gone off here for Mats, it looks like, as he's falling down the order here with about 4 laps to go.
He's not giving up just yet.
Oh no, well that's just as I say that. Oh my goodness, I keep switching. Yeah, so let's take a look. I mean, it's still Synchro in 7th, but Synchro actually goes a little bit wide there. Mats thought about going side by side, but thinking a little bit better of it, and just didn't quite have the line to take as much speed as Synchro did. So now the gap's kind of formed, but that actually allowed Callis and Vito to get away, as those two are battling it out here for P5. But look at the speed Callis is gaining here. But we can see on the car dash, not much ERS left for Callis. Vito has a little bit more, but they're right about the same. And now here we go, actually on lap 26. I'm going to jump to this quickly as Gexy overtakes Matt. Look at the gap between Nathan, JB, and Irish Potato. We can see them here with this nice helicopter shot down to under a second. So are we going to see a battle for the lead of the race here with 2 laps to go? It remains to be seen.
Slowly close the gap over the last 2 laps. Got within DRS range. So.
Yeah, now what I'm going to do is Irish Potato, not too much overtake left. I think he used a lot of it to close the gap. But actually Nathan with a little bit more, but not all that much more. Only 20% ERS to use. So I don't think ERS is going to have too much of an effect in this battle. I believe it's going to be more pure pace as to who can outrace who with 2 laps to go now in this race. But I'm going to jump back to Mats and Chris as they're still battling it out, as it seemingly have been all race. And it's still anybody's race to take. They both seem to go a little bit wide, and that the real DC potentially looking to get involved with this as well, as the leaders are starting lap 27. Actually, the gap is so close now. Look at that. He's going to go around the outside, try a switch back, but that's not going to work. And that gap went from 7/10 down to 1/10 of a second within the span of 1 DRS straight, which shows the power of DRS. And actually, now I'm just going to keep an eye on this battle for the lead now, as with 2 laps to go. It's still anybody's race to win.
Absolutely. The pressure's on Nathan here.
Yeah, has to make sure not to make a mistake, because he knows the first opportunity that Irish Potato has, he's going to take it. But Nathan doing a good job remaining calm through most of the race. And now with 2 laps to go, this is where I guess we could say the money's made, or the legends are made here, as Vito up into 5th overtakes Callis. As we saw the arrows there on the timing screen. So that's Vito into 5th now. Your own Visser in 4th, Cruz in 3rd, but all eyes now are on the likes of Irish Potato and Nathan JB. Mats and Gexy switch positions once again as they're actually very close, so let's take a quick peek at this. They both go, ooh, a little bit of a wiggle for Gexy as he rides the curb, but Mats goes way wide. Oh, no, he's out!
Oh!
Let's take the on, but what happened? Oh, we see him on the right-hand side, and oh no! And with 2 laps to go, that's Irish Potato going from hero to 0. And it will not be a possibility of 2 in a row, unfortunately, as that will not bring a safety car out because we're right at the end with less than 2 laps to go. And that's Callis up into 4th. Gexy and Mats battling it out. And of course that happens as they switch to another battle for just 2 seconds. But
he lost it on the exit.
Oh no. So maybe got a little bit too angsty to put on the power and get that move done. Maybe not as and actually Callis is out of the race as well, as that we caught on stream, and that's another one that bites the dust here on lap 28 out of 29. Callis, I think, clipped the curb, bottomed out the car on that right hand side curb that anybody on the wheel knows, or anybody who's done this Bahrain track knows, if you take too much curb right then and there, you're gonna have a bad time if you're not careful. And now on lap 28 out of 29, it's Nathan in 1st, Cruz in 2nd, and your own Visser in 3rd, with Vito in 4th now. But still, with lap 28 out of 29, as Nathan is just going to start his final lap, there's still lots to play for here in the likes of Synchro, Gexy, Mats and Chris here, and even the real DC, maybe less Synchro, but Gexy, Mats, Chris, and the real DC all close to one another, and still anybody's positions to take here for these relatively high points paying positions. And even now looking at the front of the order here, as let's ride with Mats, as he's going to overtake Gexy as they've just been switching positions. They're going 2 by 2 now through turn 1. As but Mats and Gexy are battling it out, the real DC and Chris battling it out, but your own Visser has closed the gap down to under a second now with Cruz, but he's really going to have to close up a lot if he wants any chance of that overtake for that P2. But at least now, it looks like my eyes can kind of shift focus in this battle for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, as
sorry, just
oh no, that's quite alright. I'm trying to switch between these battles, just see what's going to go on here. But I'm going to jump to this nice little 4-car battle. Who's going to get the better of who? It looks like Mats is able to get away just a little bit. And with this train of DRS cars, no one's really able to close up on anyone here down that DRS straight. And it looks like on lap 29, barring one last potential mistake or a lunge here, as let's quickly jump to Nathan, crosses the line to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. Cruz takes 2nd, your own Visser takes 3rd provisionally. Vito crosses the line in probably in 4th there, with Synchro rounding out the top 5. Mats coming through, taking those hard tires, 21 laps for 6th. Gexy in 7th, Chris in 8th, the real DC in 9th, as those cars are so close. Jordan in 10th, by only 1/10 of a second there to get the real DC. Formula Mats crossing the line in 11th. El Biku in 12th. And the Renault is not a drive to remember for the 2 Renault drivers of Bumblebee and Monster, as they're P13, P14. But at the same time, points are points. As long as they finish, they do get the points. But not the debut Monster wanted. All that much, as ran into a bit of an incident there, as Cruz gets driver of the day as far as the game vote is concerned. But what a race! Oh, I need to catch my breath a little bit.
Was an amazing race. You feel for Irish New Potato. He was closing the gap. You could tell it was just a moment of time before those 2 cars were fighting. We just never got to see the fight.
Yep, we never got to see the fight itself, unfortunately for Irish Potato. I'm thinking maybe got a little bit too overzealous with the acceleration on the last out on the exit of the last corner. Sorry, and unfortunately paid the biggest price. But there we have it. From qualifying in second, getting a nice start, Nathan JB takes the win of the Bahrain Grand Prix in Tier 2. Cruz, another strong showing, coming in starting in 19th no less, up into second. What a strong showing with Jeroen Visser in third. Vito bringing that car from 16th up into 4th, and Mats bringing that car from 17th up into 6th. But Synchro from 11th to 5th. And a strong showing from him as well. Gexy in 7th, coming behind Mats. Chris in 8th, the real DC in 9th, and Jordan rounding out the top 10. With the Formula Matt in 11th, El Bico in 12th, Bumblebee in 13th, and Monster in 14th. And then we have the Callus and Irish Potato in 15th, being classified there, as much as they unfortunately did DNF out of the race. But that was crazy.
That was a fantastic race.
Oh my goodness.
The Cruz started 19th. I forgot. That's just like we had last week with Irish New Potato, but
yeah. So from the back of the grid up to first, as we do have the race winner having joined us here for the post race interview. So Nathan, can you hear us? All right, perfect. Just let us know when you verified that, so we can jump into the interviews. Meanwhile, I'll jump into the showroom and get that nice looking McLaren on the screen for everybody watching at home.
Alright, testing. Just about to check. Testing 1 2. Mic check.
is this thing on?
All right, let's see.
Is it working?
I hope one of us has the stream open in this case so we can actually make sure we can hear us.
Yeah, I did, but I had it muted and my TV went to sleep. What an amazing race. Like, from the end of qualifying, we saw how close it was going to be, and then it transitions over to the race. Just, Eric, you're going to need oxygen before the next race.
Tell me about it. Like, I'm at a loss of words, but mostly because I don't know if my voice can handle it, because I've already been voice cracking through through half the stream here with all the action. But I'll jump into this. So Nathan, you get the win here at Bahrain. How are you feeling after that race? With given how hectic that was, at least from what we could see in the commentators booth.
It feels really good. I've been struggling on the wheel. I've been using the wheel for quite a few races, and I decided I'm going to try out the pad again just for a week and see how it goes. And it just feels good to be back in a competitive kind of way. And I'm just really happy.
Yeah, it really showed there, and I do have to say, it looked like you had a really good start there, qualified in second. After I think I'd set that that nice lap right at the end of qualifying session, but that was a really nice start that it seemed, going from second up into first. So take us through the start of the race. To talk us through what happened, going from second up into first and really never looking back from there.
Yeah, well, it was a good start, and I was actually quite happy to be in second because in a practice session just before, I've qualified second and I got a really good start and used the slipstream, so I was quite confident I was going to get the jump on whoever's in first, and I could just take the line to get first place in the following corners. But yeah, I just from there just trying to look to control the race, and the safety cars came out. The first one was good, the safety car, but the ones after that kind of messed up my race a little bit. So I was always going to do a two-stop strategy, but I didn't want to go onto the mediums too early. In fact, I wanted to do a soft, medium, soft, but I had to do a soft, medium, medium because of the safety car.
Oh, okay. So did that, and you were speaking of the safety cars, and maybe you mentioned it, And I mean, like I said, oh my goodness, I'm a little bit out of it after the race. But do you think that did the safety cars sort of affect your strategy calls? Were you kind of contemplating, or did you have that strategy right from the get-go that you wanted to stick to, and even throughout the safety cars, just sort of figured, well, I'm gonna stick to it?
I'm just trying to remember. To be fair, I think the first one it came out a good time for me because I pitted for mediums, and then I was on fresh mediums, and that was perfect for strategy because I was going to go in I think a lap later anyway. Oh no, I think that was the first one on the first 2 laps actually, so I think I skipped that one. I just remember the safety car restart, and I thought I could go, and then the game just stopped me mid apex on the corner. So it stopped me, and the guy behind me went right behind me, and then as I tried to accelerate, I lost it a little bit, and I thought, oh no, I'm going to get overtaken by about 3 cars. I think New Potato and somebody else overtook me for the first turn, but I managed to get better traction and then overtake them for the next few corners.
Okay, now I was gonna say, Sunik, do you have anything to add on what we've touched upon so far?
How are you feeling knowing Irish New Potato was coming, and he was coming fast? He had the pace we saw in qualifying. There was a moment where you kept the gap to around 1.9, 1.5, and it was staying that way for much of the time. And then all of a sudden, within 2 laps, New Potato he turned it on, and he was closing, but ultimately on the penultimate corner, lost it and hit the wall. How were you feeling? You had to have been seeing that gap decrease over time. So, how were you feeling in that moment?
Well, to be honest, I had Krishna, who also raced, but he retired, as my race engineer, and he kept telling me how much ERS he had. And I always had more ERS than him. So my plan was just to keep without DRS as much as I can to the late of the race. And then eventually, I think there was 3 laps to go, but he got DRS on me, but I knew I still had more ERS than him, so he'd just kind of be in a train with me, just try to pull the gap. So I knew that I didn't have to use any ERS. And then I also was tyre saving quite a lot, so I was taking it a little bit easy. So that's probably why he spun out, because I know he was pushing really hard and using all of his ERS and fuel. So yeah, I had quite a lot of confidence, to be fair, and I didn't think he would catch me.
Well, amazing race by everyone. You guys put on a show this week. So happy that I got to commentate.
Yeah, it was a great race. Thank you. I mean, thank you for the entertainment here with the Tier 2 race, and congratulations on taking the victory here in Bahrain. Now, no problem. Now, I haven't seen anybody else join the interviews, and I mean, given the length of this first driver interview, I'll take it. I figure that's probably all we're getting so far. I think here, unless I'm mistaken. Sorry?
Yeah, I added everybody, but Nathan was the only one that joined up, so.
Yeah, but so I think that'll do it here for us for the Tier 2 stream, and what a race it was, I do have to say, and thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. Now, make sure to tune in once again in about 35 minutes time for what I can only describe as the main event. It'll be myself and ISRL X in the commentators booth to take you through the Tier 1 race here around Bahrain's circuit for their race. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern, so in about 35 minutes time, so make sure to tune in right here on ISRL Esports for that. But up until then, on behalf of Sunik, I've been Fallen Monkeys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next week, have a great rest of your day.
We'll see you in Italy.